Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are very happy to have the association of His Grace Sankarshan Nitai Prabhuji. Prabhuji will be sharing Bhagavad Gita from 4th canto, 29th chapter, verses 80 and 81. The topic is talks between Narada and King Prachinapati. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for your time.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can start.
Hare Krishna. So my Dandavat Pranam, humble obeisance to all the Vaishnavas present here. Yes, Prabhu. So should I share, Prabhuji, or
yeah, if you want me to share, I'll share, or if you want, you can share. Either way, it's fine.
I have another PPT also be shared, Prabhu. So I'll only will share it.
Okay, fine.
Okay, yeah. Just let me know if you are able to see it. You are able to see it, Prabhu?
Yes. Oh, you are sharing through mobile, huh?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu, from mobile.
Or I will share the verses. Once you read the verses, you can then.
Yes. That is also should be fine. So let me.
Okay, I'll share.
Yeah, you can share it. Yes, yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamukirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 29, verse number 80. Maitreya Uvacha Bhagavatamukyo Bhagavan Narado Hamsayor Gatim Pradarshyahi Amum Amantriya Siddhalokam Tato Gamat. Word to word meaning. I'll recite 3 times. Maitreya Uvacha Bhagavatamukyo Bhagavan Narado Hamsayor Gatim Pradarshyahi Amum Amantriya Siddhalokam Tato Gamat. Maitreya Uvacha Bhagavatamukyo Bhagavan Narado Hamsayor Gatim Pradarshyahi Amuma Mantriya Siddhalokam Tato Gamat. Synonyms, word to word meaning. Maitreya Uvacha, Maitreya said, Bhagavata of the devotees, Mukhya, the chief, Bhagavan, the most powerful, Narada Muni, Hamsayoga of the living entity, and the Lord, Gatim, constitutional position, Pradarshya, having shown, he certainly, among him, the king, Amantriya, after inviting Siddhalokam to Siddhaloka, Tataha, thereafter, Agamat, departed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai. Translation. The great says Maitreya continued. The supreme devotee, the great saint Narada, thus explained to King Prachinabarhi the constitutional position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity. After giving an invitation to the king, Narada Muni left to return to Siddhaloka. Purport. Siddhaloka and Brahmaloka are both within the same planetary system. Brahmaloka is understood to be the highest planet within this universe. Siddhaloka is considered to be one of the satellites of Brahmaloka. The inhabitants of Siddhaloka have all the powers of yogic mysticism. From this verse, it appears that the great sage Narada is an inhabitant of Siddhaloka. Although he travels to all the planetary systems, all the residents of Siddhaloka are spacemen and they can travel in space without mechanical help. The residents of Siddhaloka can go from one planet to another individually by virtue of their yogic perfection. After giving instructions to the great king Prachina Barhi, Narada Muni departed and also invited him to Siddhaloka. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरकृषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं नमामि शुद्धे Hare Krishna. I would like to welcome all the devotees for today's morning Bhagavatam class. So, humbly seeking the blessings of all the Vaishnavas so that I can I can do the service nicely and please Vaishnavas. So, so in these two verses, 80 and 81, the from last few chapters we have been discussing that how Narada Muni was preaching to Prachina Barhi, who was very expert in karma kanda division. So he was following the Vedic prescriptions only, but he is too much attached to it. So much so that in one of the shlokas it is mentioning that there is a continuous chain of sacrifice are going on, animal sacrifice, one after another. So by the time the one ends, other sacrifice will be automatically starting. So much of karma kanda things were happening, so since he's coming in the line of disciplic succession of the lineage of Dhruva Maharaj, so Narada Muni was kind of taken a compassion on Prachina Barhi. So he wanted to deliver Prachina Barhi, and so out of compassion, so he came and then he was speaking uh, the way how to achieve the perfection in life. So he was telling that allegorical story that we all have learned, that the Puranjana Ashram, Puranjana story. And finally, Prajna Bahi could understand that, yeah, it is me only whom Narada Muni was talking about. So he could realize it after so much of samvad, everything. And so Prachina Barhi finally came to the conclusion that bhakti is the topmost. And in the next verse, we'll see he immediately leave this one, the home, and then he goes. So Narada Muni, so here in this shloka, uh, Narada Muni, of course, Narada Muni was showing him the vision of how all the animals that he was sacrificing, they were all waiting to take the revenge. Narada Muni. So similarly, like Narada Muni was showing the vision for Mrigari. We know the pastime of the story of Mrigari, where he was killing the animals half, and he was kind of enjoying that activity. So Narada Muni was showing him the vision that how he is accruing so much of karma, and all the animals they are all waiting for him to take revenge. So the same thing Prachinamar he was also shown, and then he realized that what the mistake is done, and then he was taken. So here in this translation, if you see, the great sage Maitreya continued, the supreme devotee Bhagavata Mukhya Narada Muni, the great sage Narada explained to Prachinabhari about the constitutional position of the supreme Godhead and the living end. So these two things are very important. In the Bhagavad Gita also, we have seen Krishna was mentioning that Janma Karma cha me divyam yovam yovet tattvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sochna. So if somebody understands the true nature of the Lord's incarnations, Janma, and Lord's activity, although Lord is called Aja, means one who doesn't take any birth, still he takes birth. Why? For various reasons. So the real nature of the Lord's Janma, somebody knows, and that activity. So it is said in the Vedic scripture that Natasya Karyam Karanam cha Vijyate. The Lord no need to perform any activity. For him, there is no activity prescribed. But still, Lord performs the activity, right? So why? Because of the Lord was telling, if I don't perform the activity, all the three worlds put into ruin. Just to set an example. So if somebody knows these things in truth, and how one can know the things in truth when somebody approaches the bona fide spiritual master. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te gnanam gnananas tattva darshana, because that person has already seen the truth, so he can actually impart the truth to the disciple. So if somebody knows these things in the truth, what is the constitutional position of the Lord? He is the supreme master of everyone. And what is the constitutional position of Jiva? Jivera Swarupai Krishnera Nitila. If these things are convinced, and not just through the head, through the heart, means all the activities should be translated as per this understanding, then one will never return back to this world. That is the important. So after giving an invitation to the king Prachina Barhi, Narada Muni returned to Siddhaloka. So Narada Muni was very like he is like a he's Mahabhagavata devotee. He always wants, just like the Lord, how the Lord wants all the jivas to return to Godhead, return to home. Similarly, all the great devotees, their only desire is to get the fallen conditioned souls back to God. So Narada Muni was one such devotee, Mahabhagavata devotee, who always try means and find out that how the jiva can be brought back. So here he is inviting Prachina Barhi. In some of the other instances, like you can, there is one story we have heard about the Kailash story, right? So I think many of have already heard. So Kailash is like one person who was completely attached to the materialistic way of life. So Narada Muni, out of his compassion, he wanted to invite. So once he visited Kailash, and he was telling them, no, I have so much of family responsibility now. I have small kids, so I will come later. So the person is a typical example of a conditioned jiva who keeps on postponing the spiritual life. Okay, so Kailash, okay, Narada Muni left. Okay, he comes after some time when he becomes like when his sons, Kailash sons were grown up. Narada Muni asks, why don't you come up now? Now you don't have any responsibility. No, he said that I have my grandsons and granddaughters who always play with me, and they will cry if I am not there. And my sons and daughters, they were very much relying on my guidance only. How can I give up so, all these things he was telling. So Naradaman was telling, okay, I will come later. And then when he comes next time, Kailash was not there. His photo is there on the wall. That means he is gone. So while leaving the home, Narada Muni saw that there is a dog which is barking. And Narada Muni, since he is a a great mystic yogi, he can understand the language of the dog. So he is himself was a Kailash dog. The Kailash became a dog. So Narada Muni asked, "Hi, how come you become a dog?" And so he's telling that, why don't you come with me now at least? Now you are a dog, at least you come with me now. But this Kailash was telling in the dog's body, no, 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 I cannot come. Why? Because I have left so much of property, and my sons were very fast asleep, and there may be some thieves would be coming. So I have to guard the house very nicely. That is why I cannot come, Narmani, later. So Narada Muni was understood the nature of Maya. So Narada Muni went back and then again came. And the next time he doesn't see the dog there. He saw the snake. So Narada Muni can understand that he is the Kailash only. And he is asking, at least you come now. But the snake replied, no, 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 no. I have my paddy fields, which my sons were not taking care. So many insects and everything is coming. I have to protect my paddy fields. Like that, he was telling. So you can see in that story of Kailash, although it is very humorous, but it is a story of most of us and who are very much attached and keep on postponing the things for the next time. So that is so finally Narada Muni what he did, he called one of his sons and tell them there is a snake at his courtyard, at your courtyard, just kill him. So they killed him, and because he has having so much of association with Narada Muni, and while leaving the body, he saw Narada Muni face to face. That is why he became associate of Narada Muni in the next life. So although the association of great souls, how much it impacts, sometimes sometimes one may not be able to follow, but still association is very very powerful, that one day things will manifest. So that's why it's very important. Yeah. So here the same thing, Narada Muni was on inviting everyone to come back to Godhead. So here he is inviting uh, he's inviting Prachina Barhi also to Siddhaloka. So Siddhaloka, why? Because Nardani was a resident of Siddhaloka. Prabhupada was telling that these two lokas, Siddhaloka and Brahmaloka, are both within the same planetary system, and it's understood to be a highest planetary system. So Brahma, we all know there are 14 planetary systems. So Satyaloka, which is also known as Brahmaloka, Siddhaloka or Tapaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, uh, and then Bhuvarloka, Bhuloka, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala. So there are 14 planetary systems like this are there. So when the annihilation happens, there are different kinds of annihilations. At the end of Brahma's one day and at the end of Brahma's life tenure, like that. So when annihilation happens, all lower planetary systems are submerged in the water, but only the Brahmaloka and Siddhaloka is also done. But Siddhaloka, since they are all having a lot of siddhis, they can actually travel from Siddhaloka to Brahmaloka. That is why it is mentioned it's a satellite of Brahmaloka. So they can take an aeroplane and then they can go to Brahmaloka. So that is what is mentioned in one of the shlokas. But the thing is, they don't use it any mechanical ways. Just like in our world, people rely on the mechanical arrangements to go to another planets. But here they just do the mantra. They are not using yantras. It is just mantras, and by their yogic power and austerities and all, they can simply. So this is one point where Prabhupada very much condemns that the all the travel plans to the moon that scientists keep on doing it. See, why are you wasting so much of valuable human energy? That's what Prabhupada tells. Because he has written a book also, right? Easy journey to another planet. There is an easy way. Just worship Lord, and based on your your perfection, you can go to different planets. That's a easy one. So no need of mechanical things like that. So he was like one of the shlokas in Bhagavatam which tells that akama sarva kamova moksha kama udarati tivrena bhakti yogena bhajeta uh, purusham param bhajeta purusham param. Means if somebody is in akama platform, means he doesn't have any material desires, or somebody is a sarva kama, means he has a full material desires, and somebody is a moksha kama who is desiring for liberation. All these three personalities, you can say only these three only in the world. Either somebody is wanting complete material sense gratification, or the liberation, or the bhakti. Basically, for anything one has to approach only one person, that is the supreme lord Krishna. There is no need to go for any other demigod also. Why? Because it is said that demigods are like the shopkeepers. Shopkeepers means what? Shopkeepers means if somebody goes to a shop and give the 10 rupees and ask for a cigarette, the shopkeeper does not bother whether the cigarette will help you or it is going to ruin you. He doesn't bother. All he wants is his share of money you have given, and then he will give that. But whereas Krishna is like a father, so the father can spend some lakhs and lakhs of rupees for the son for the education or whatever, but he doesn't give the 10 rupees cigarette. Why? Because the father is concerned about the health of, he is concerned about the well-being of the son. Correct? So most of the times demigods, you can see, you perform the austerities and ask the benedictions, they'll give it, but they are not concerned about how the benefit, how that benediction is going to ruin or it's going to help her later. They're not bothered about it, right? So, so Krishna is like a supreme father. He knows what is good for one, what is not good for one. So he very mercifully he doesn't give if it is harmful to the jana, living entity. He doesn't give it very mercifully. So that is why one has to understand that even we don't receive what we want sometimes. So that is also a mercy of Krishna. That is the maturity in devotional practice. Yeah. So here, um, so Prabhupada was telling that not required all these, so much of spending trillions and trillions of dollars just for going to one where some place where to collect one ashes or something like that. So I was actually seeing the references where Prabhupada was mentioning about this moon planet. Some of the amazing things I found out. Let me share that thing. So I'll share it, Prabhu.
Yes, you can share, Prabhu.
Yeah, I'll share the screen. Yeah. So let me know if you are able to see the.
Yes.
Yeah, you're able to see, right? Yeah. So there are different points Prabhupada tells, and it is very logical also. So some points you can see. I'll just take some 5 minutes to go 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. So he's telling that apart from this discussion, the point is that a living entity has immense and unlimited desires for material enjoyment, and he has to transmigrate from one gross body to another until these desires are exhausted. So even if you go to moon planet, this is Bhagavata. Before going to your moon planet, here is the information. Anywhere you go, rascal, these things will follow. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, and inconveniences. You will have to suffer. So one is who is intelligent, where shall I find real happiness? So this one point Prabhupada tells that okay, even if you assume that you go to moon planet, still there is a Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Correct? Na? So how can you find a real happiness? That is one argument Prabhupada gives. Second argument is cannot travel uh, this many miles, 95 million miles, I think, in 4 days at 18,000 mph. My challenge is that moon is beyond the sun. First planet is sun and then moon. So if the sun is at 93 million miles and the moon is above the sun 160 million, then how they can go to the moon planet in 4 days? It requires 7.5 months. That is my challenge. So this is, see Prabhupada how logically he is refuting. So they are telling that they went in 4 days, but Prabhupada is telling as per the Bhagavata, as per the cosmic Vedic, cosmology, Vedic cosmology, moon is further than sun. It is not nearer to earth. It is further. And you can see in the further statements also, just like we have a week, right? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. First comes what? Sun. So sun is the nearest planet, and the moon is the next to the sun. That's what he tells. So we have already discussed this point in many places. The sun is first, then the moon, then Mars, then Jupiter. Just like Sunday, Monday, like that. The sun is supposed to be so many miles above the surface of Earth, and from the Bhagavatam we understand that moon is more miles above the sun. Therefore, the distance between the Earth and the moon would be about 950 million miles. So, if a space capsule were traveling at the speed of 18,000 miles per hour, how could it reach the moon in 4 days? At that speed, going to the moon would take at least 7 months. That a space capsule on a moon excursion has reached the moon in 4 days is therefore impossible. See, this is Prabhupada is mentioning in one of the purports. So yeah, so this is the another this one. And the third argument Prabhupada gives is not going to the moon but to the planet Rahu. He's telling that they did go to planet moon, but they would have probably gone to Rahu. So he's telling that the failure of modern moon excursionists may be due to the Rahu planet. In other words, those who are supposed to be going to the moon may actually be going to the invisible planet Rahu. Actually, they're not going to the moon, but to the planet Rahu, and after reaching the planet, they come back. Apart from this discussion, the point is that a living entity has immense and unlimited desires for material enjoyment. He can yeah. So this is another argument Prabhupada gives in one of the places that they might have gone to the Rahu. And yeah, the another argument Prabhupada gives is if they went there, they would not want to come back. Why? Because the moon planet is one of the heavenly planets. Correct? So heavenly planets, there is so lot more enjoyment than the earthly planet. So why would they ever even come back? Okay, that's what Prabhupada tells them. Correct? So one devotee was telling, see, even if they think that they went to the moon planet, they have not actually gone to the moon planet. Why? Because it is an ethereal planet. Means with the same kind of human body, one can never into the moon planet. It requires a different kind of bodily structure. Correct? Just like somebody may say, I have gone to Vrindavan. So physically, one may be going to Vrindavan, but actually, if the mood is not proper, then they haven't gone to Vrindavan at all, right? So similarly, the moon is basically an ethereal. So with this body, one cannot, go back. That's what one of the things Prabhupada tells. Now, another argument is as simple as the days of week. Among the planets, the first is Surya, Sun, not the Moon. Therefore, according to Vedic version, the modern astronomers' proposition that the Moon is the nearest to Earth should not be accepted. The chronological order in which people all over the world refer to the days of week: Sunday, Bhanuvara; Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday corresponds to the Vedic order of the planets and thus circumstantiate the Vedic version. Yeah. So this is very logical. And how can we believe that the maintainer of vegetation has no vegetation on his planet? So this is one powerful argument Prabhupada gives that you see in the earth, whatever the juice that we are getting from the vegetables, fruits, and everything, that is all due to the rays of the moon. That's all due to the moon planet. So moon is the source of all the vegetation, and these scientists are claiming that there is no vegetation at all on the moon planet. How come it's possible? This is one powerful argument. And then he's telling that can't just build a staircase to heaven. We know all the Ravana and so many other demons. They just want to build the staircase to the heavenly planets. So that it is like our scientists are trying to take them to the all the people to the moon planet, which is not possible. Yeah. So another argument is moon rocks should also be shiny. So Prabhupada is telling that if the moon is illuminating the earth at night, then how come you have brought back dull pieces of rock? They should have also be shining. One devotee was telling, Prabhupada is telling, yes, that's a common sense. So real science versus fake science. The planets are not orbiting the sun. No, they have got their different orbits. This is the real science to know these facts. Yes. So how can you prove that? Vedic literature. Prabhupada, yes, he has so much of conviction in the Vedic literature that all these scientific things they keep on changing the facts. Correct. So one fact will be there till the time it will be defeated by another fact. But Prabhupada is a Apaurushaya. That is why Vedic literature is not written by one of the conditioned souls. Prabhupada has so much of conviction on it. So laboratory work bluff. Yes, Prabhupada. They're just bluffing the world. Don't expose me. I will not expose you. So Prabhupada is telling, the Russian scientists are telling to Americans that, you don't expose me, I don't expose you, something like that. All these are going on in a rascaldom. They've got our faith in Krishna. They've got our faith in scientists. They've gone to the moon planet, then our whole propaganda Krishna consciousness becomes bogus. Yeah, so here Prabhupada is completely challenging. They just didn't go to moon planet at all. So that's what he's telling. So even if they have reached it to moon planet, just the same thing only. They will just eat, drink, and be merry, and all the problems will still continue. So what is the point in going there? Should not go to. Yeah. So this is one thing that there are different arguments that Prabhupada was. It was so quite logical and uh, it is all very much backed up by the Vedic scriptures. So we can, can very much understand how Prabhupada is so much of, condemning this futile attempt to go to the different planets for the sake of enjoyment. Yeah. So so this is most of this shloka very much telling about the interplanetary travel, which is very much possible, but by bhakti it can easily be done. So no need of doing so much of hard endeavor. So here Narada Muni was giving an invitation to return to Siddhaloka. Yeah. So now, yeah, Prabhu, can you share the next this one?
I will do it. I'll do
Yeah.
it, Prabhu. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So the 81st verse is actually the main. We can see the fruit of Narada Muni's preaching there. Okay. So Prachina Barhi Rajarshi Praja Sarga Virakshane Adishya Putran Agamat Tapase Kapilashramam. Translation: in the presence of his ministers, the saintly king Prachina Barhi left orders for his sons to protect the citizens. He then left home and went off to undergo austerities in a holy place known as Kapila Ash. Purport: the word Praja Sarga is very important in this verse. When the saintly king Prachina Barhi was induced by the great sage Narada to leave home and take to the devotional service of the Lord, his sons had not yet returned from their austerities in the water. However, he did not wait for their return, but simply left message to the effect that his sons were to protect the mass of citizens. According to Veera Raghava Acharya, such protection means organizing the citizens into the specific divisions of four varnas and four ashramas. It was the responsibility of the royal order to see that citizens were following the regulative principles of four varnas, namely Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and the ashramas, namely Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. It is very difficult to rule citizens in a kingdom without organizing the Varnashrama Dharma. To rule the mass of citizens in a state and keep them in a complete progressive order is not possible simply by passing laws every year in a legislative assembly. The Varnashrama Dharma is essential in a good government. One class of men, the Brahmanas, must be intelligent and Brahmanically qualified. Another class must be trained in administrative work, Kshatriya. Another in mercantile business, Vaishya. And another simply in labor, Shudra. These four classes of men are already there according to nature. But it is the government's duty to see that all four of these classes follow the principles of their Varnas methodically. This is called Abhirakshana or protection. It is significant that when Maharaj Prachina Barhi was convinced of the goal of life through the instruction of Narada, he did not wait even a moment to see his sons return, but left immediately. There were many things to be done upon the return of his son, but he simply left them a message. He knew what his prime duty was. He simply left instructions for his sons and went off for the purpose of spiritual advancement. This is the system of Vedic civilization. Sridhara Swami informs us that the Kapilashrama is located at the confluence of the Ganges and the Bay of Bengal, a place known now as Gangasara, Gangasagar. This place is still famous as a place of pilgrimage, and many millions of people gather there every year on the day of Makara Sankranti and take bath. It is called Kapilashrama because of Lord Kapila's living there to perform his austerities and penances. Lord Kapila propounded the Sankhya system of philosophy. So this is, you can see, the fruit of Narada Muni's preaching, that the Prachina Barhi, although so much of attached to Karma Kanda, now he want to immediately retire. Although his sons Prachetas, they were doing the austerities under the water for 10,000 years. They did not return yet. So, although so many things need to be done once they return, but still Prachina Barhi thought that no, my prime duty is actually my to achieve perfection of life. So immediately left to Kapila Muni ashram. So this is such an important instruction for all of us, that so how much, I mean, in the spirit we all can take it, how much important one has to give uh, for the uh, for the connection with the Lord, in the sense for the perfection of human life. So one of the stories in Mahabharata which tells that uh, when Duryodhana was born, that time Vidura, there were many bad omens that were happening around, and Vidura could easily understand that this person is evil. So he went to Duryodhana, sorry, he went to Dhritarashtra and said that, my dear brother, you have 100 sons. This one person, this one son is going to, he's very evil. He's going to be the cause of the destruction of the entire dynasty altogether. So just give up this one son. You have already have 199 else other was there. Just give up this one son. That time he was telling one nice kind of analogy, not analogy, exactly, kind of systematic way. He's telling that for the sake of one family, one child can be given up. For the sake of one village, one family can be given up. Means one particular family. For the sake of state, one village can be given up. For the sake of the world, for the sake of a country, one state, for the sake of the world, one country can be given up. And finally he ends up saying that for the sake of self realization, the entire world can be given. That's what he concludes with it. So how much important that it is that one should take, we have both constitutional duty and conditional duty. Yes, we have to perform so many duties as a family man, as a grihastha, as a employee, as so many other rules, as a son, as a so many other rules, other roles one is performing. All these are important, but the most important thing is the constitutional duty to revive our original connection with Krishna. That is why it's Prahlad Maharaj says that Durlabham Manusham Janmam Tadapi Adhrom Ardhadam. Although this human body, after so many 84 lakh species of life, one transmigrates through and finally comes to the human body, although it is temporary. Durlabham Manusham Janma Tadapi Adhrom, it is temporary, but it is very, very important that one has to take this very, very seriously. So that's what. So we can see Prachina Barhi, how he immediately left. Although he has many things to do, still he conveyed the message to the ministers that what the Prachetas have to do, and then he left the palace. So that's very important. So so now in the purport, Prabhupada was telling the Praja Sarga is very, very important. So the protection of citizens, how one can protect the citizen, is so very practically. Prabhupada was telling that Varnashrama Dharma is a way to protect the citizens from downgrade, from degrading to the animal life. So now there are four Varnas and four Ashramas. What is that? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. These four Varnas and four Ashrama. Ashrama means the place, the situation where that spiritual culture is nourished. One that which gives the ashraya is actually an ashram. So we have brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa ashram. So there are four varnas and four ashramas. So these are actually enunciated by Lord Himself. He's telling in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtyam Guna Karma Vibhagashta, based on guna and karma, based on qualities and activities one has to perform. So ideally speaking, this varnashrama dharma is a material. It's not spiritual, it is material. But the thing is, it is a conducive atmosphere so that one actually develops that spiritual attraction very easily. So that is why the mass of the people, like the same thing, same question asked by Yudhishthira Maharaj in the seventh canto of Bhagavatam. When Narada Muni was explaining about varnashrama dharma to Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was telling that how the general mass of people will take up the pure devotionals. Actually, the Sanatana Dharma, first Narada Muni was explaining about Sanatana Dharma. Then Yudhishthira asked many people, general people, they just cannot immediately take the this one, pure devotional service. For them, what is the way? Then Narada Muni is telling about Varnashrama Dharma. What are the duties of all the Varnas and all the Ashramas? So that's very, very nice PPT. I think Gaurang Darshan Prabhu has made it. I will just refer that. Prabhu, I can share it again.
Yes, you can share.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Yeah. So let me know if you are able to see it, Prabhu. You are able to see it, Prabhu?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So this is what I was telling, that how general people can attain pure devotional service. So all these questions. So Prabhupada was so Prabhuji was very systematically telling in the seventh canto from chapter number 11 to 15. All the various varnashrama duties were told by Narada Muni. What all the duties that one has to perform. So yeah, yeah, so first, initially, Narada Muni explains about the Sanatana Dharma principles, eternal religious principles. That is what? That is uh, Dharma Swanushtita Pumsam Vishwak Sena Kadhasuyaha Navutpadayat Yadiratim Shramayeva. Yeah, this is basically the ultimate goal of all the occupational duties is to develop the rati to for the Supreme Lord. So he's telling me another verse, where is it? Dharma Moolam Hi Bhagavan Sarva Veda Mayohari Smritam Chitat Vidam Rajam Yena Chatma Prasidati. How the soul will be completely satisfied is when the soul is engaged in the bhakti of the Supreme Lord, who is the Dharma Moolam, who is the root of all the dharmas. So he's telling, and Lord himself is performed that in the form of Naranarayan Rishi in the Badrikashta. He himself set an example. So this is about, yeah, again, he's telling that there are 30 qualifications one has to develop in order to satisfy the Supreme Lord. And in the 30, 9 are pure devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasya, Sakhyam, Atma Niveda. So these 9 things, and there are 21 other things one has to develop to satisfy the Lord. That is all, most of us we know. Truthfulness, mercy, austerity, bathing twice a day, tolerance, discrimination between right and wrong, shama, control of the mind, senses, non-violence, celibacy, charity, reading of scriptures, simplicity, satisfaction, whatever is there, I'm satisfied. Rendering service to saintly persons, gradually taking leave of unnecessary engagements, observing the futility of the unnecessary activities of human society, remaining silent and avoid unnecessary talk, considering the body and the soul difference, distributing the food equally to both men and animals. So all these 21 items actually very much pleases the Lord. So one needs to develop all these qualities, and the 9 core items are the pure devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So this is what Narada Muni was telling. And then, yeah, and then he was telling about Varnashrama Dharma. Till now, he was telling about Sanatana Dharma, which is a pure devotional service. Now he tells about the Varnashrama Dharma. So these are the, in a table he was telling, what are the duties of Brahmana? Yajan, Yajan, Patan, Padhan, Dana, Pratigraha. He worships the Lord and teach others to worship. He studies the Vedas and teach others. He gives the charity of knowledge and accepts whatever they give. So that is Brahmana. And what are the symptoms? Shama, Dama, Shaucham, Shantam, Arjam. So we just know we have discussed many of them. That is the Brahmana. And Kshatriya is one what? He actually does all the other things, but except the whatever Brahmana does, and all the except charity. He doesn't accept charity. That is Kshatriya. And then he taxes. He levies the taxes and he uses the taxes for the benefit of the people. And these are the symptoms. He is very chivalrous, courageous, and patient. All these things, charitable, all that. And Vaishya says Krishi Goraksha Vanijya. These are the occupational duty of a Vaishya. And the symptom is he should be devoted to demigods, Guru, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and endeavor for Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, expert in earning money. So all these are symptoms of Vaishya. Shudra is the one who is only he's having occupational duty of just serving one of the other three classes, correct? And then he should be submissive, he should be free from duplicity, all this. So this is the symptom of a Shudra. Yeah. So now, yeah, there are some alternatives which Brahmana can take. That is, he can do the agriculture, crop protection, trading, and everything, but only in an emergency. So there's something like emergency duty, which is like the lower persons can accept the occupational duties of a higher. Kshatriya can accept the duties of a Brahmana, but not charity. Now, in the last point, you see, now is also so now also we are in an emergency period where the dharma is so much declining very fast. Now, ISKCON, that is why ISKCON, we train everyone to become a Brahmana, although they may be in a different varnas, no, but they are trained to become a Brahmana and take up to the process of occupational duties of a Brahmana. So that is one of the emergency duties of just. And Narada Muni was telling about what is the duties of a chaste wife. She follows the husband very carefully and very vows of the husband, and she engages in the service of husband with love in all time and circumstance, maintain the home nicely, and she's satisfied, clean, pure, truthful, and controlled. And she should not engage in the service of the fallen husband if he obstructs her. So if somebody is very much obstructing, then she should not be serving, rather live separately without marrying further. That's what Prabhuji was telling. I mean, unless it's very, very uh, in a very high degree of severance. So, and serving in the mode of Lakshmi. So, this is what is the duties of chaste wife. Now, there is a duty of mixed class. We know Anuloma Pratiloma marriages. Anuloma means the higher order person is marrying the lower order. Pratiloma means the reverse, vice versa. So, you know, so basically, he's telling that what is the duties of them in this shloka. Yeah, now, yeah, so I can go little faster so that we have yeah. So these are the duties of brahmachari. He should be very submissive, and he should be following the spiritual master's order, and all these he should do the Vedic mantras regularly, be very simple, and morning and evening he go and collect the alms and offer to spiritual master, eat only on the order of spiritual master. There is one nice pastime also in Ramanujacharya's one disciple. um, he was given an order by Ramanujacharya, but Ramanujacharya has left that day early morning only to some other preaching engagement. He did not come till the midnight, and the disciple was still waiting. He was not eating anything until he comes back. So that is how the brahmachari behaves. And alertness of brahmachari, he should be very careful with association with the opposite sex. So he should associate with women only as much as necessary, and he must rigidly avoid talking with women or about women. Senses may agitate even the mind of a sannyas. So why take so much of precaution? Why? Because it can lead to the turbulence in the mind. Yeah. So this is one thing. And duties of a vanaprastha, these are all actually, if you read this, you will be very much, it's very strict rules. But Prabhuji was telling that in this age of Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to practice, like, going to the forest and then eating on very, very roots and all these things. It's very difficult. That is why we have to follow what Acharyas has prescribed based on the time, place, and circumstance. Just like Dhruva Maharaj, he is going to the forest. Narada Muni did not tell him to make a deity from the gold or from anything. He's just telling that just make a deity out of the mud, because that is what is feasible that time. So like that. So if suppose if we generally it is recommended that we bathe the Lord with the waters of Yamuna and the holy rivers. But what if the country doesn't have any sacred rivers? What if we don't have anything? Then we take the water and recite that mantra, right? Gange Chemuni Cheva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin. Like that, we invoke the auspiciousness. So whatever is feasible, at the time, place, and circumstance, one needs to follow it. That's what Prabhupada is telling. And yeah, so this is all how. And then there is a story of Avaduta Brahmana, how Prahlad Maharaj took lessons from Avaduta Brahmana. Essentially, he was telling so many gurus. He learned a lot of things. The main, yeah. So the main two gurus he was telling is B, how it is works so hard, but at the end, one person takes away everything, right? So, but still, the B is satisfied. And other one is a Python. Python means not doing much of endeavor, material endeavor, but still satisfied with whatever the things he got. Yeah, and then what is the qualities of a sannyasi? Sannyasi is he renounced all the material connections. He travels only to preach. The upliftment of the society is the only quality. So he sees the Lord all pervading, and leaving futile matter observes the eternal time factor. Yeah. So we can see in the Prabhupada's life also how he was so convinced, and then he was completely dedicated to the order of spiritual master. So that is the real quality of a sannyasi. And he should not be bothering about material literatures, which should be rejected. And yeah, so he need to be very simple and like that. So Prahlad Maharaj meets a saintly person. That is about what we have discussed. So yeah, so B is for learner to be unattached to the accumulating money. Python is patience. Learn to be satisfied with whatever achieved in its own accord. Yeah, that is. So now we will go ahead with the uh, family life. That is the duties of a householder. A householder, the main thing is householder has to associate with the Mahamunis and hear the Krishna Katha again and again regularly. Why? Because householder is amidst of the so many attachments. In order to cleanse him from the family attachments, he has to hear the Krishna Katha and associate with the devotees very often. And he has to earn to maintain body and soul. So that is externally attached, internally detached, live a simple life. So we have seen Raghunath Das Goswami how he was doing it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order. So externally one may be attached doing everything, but internally the purpose is clear. The purpose is to go back home, back to God. So that is one quality. That is the duty of a householder, and he should be satisfied. He should not be claiming proprietorship of whatever. Just like it is like a thief. And treat animals. This is very important. One has to treat all the other living entities because there are four orders. The three orders are actually relying on the Grasta ashrama. Three ashramas are relying on the Grasta ashrama. So Grasta ashrama people have to take care of all the other three ashramas nicely, and also not just the all the living entities also. And the path of a householder, he should not be too much of endeavor for the material achievements, and yeah, so he should take care of the animals. He should give up the attachment to wife. Means in the sense, see, one can be affectionate but not attached. That's what it's telling, that there is a difference. Affection means we do everything, but the goal is clear. Yeah. So and then one needs to be deliberately thinking about how this body is very temporary, how it will become a creamy bit bhasma, like that. At the end of the day, it will become like that. So to give up attachments, worship Supreme Lord, demigods, forefathers, sages, human beings, living entities, wealthy and educated should perform sacrifices. How is Lord pleased? Lord accepts oblations through the mouth of the Brahman. So it's very important to feed the Brahmanas, to feed the devotees. It's very important. It's one of the prime duties of a householder. And yeah, so time, place, and circumstances for the Shraddha rites. So um, yeah, so Shraddhas should not be performed on the fasting days. Success in short human span. Yeah. So, and there is a talk about how important it is to worship the deities also. Nardoni was telling that, the deity worship enables one to offer everything that is in his position for the Lord. That is what's very important. That becomes a practical thing. So the grihasthas has to give up everything. But what is the practical way to do it is actually when somebody worships the deity, then it is very easy to give up everything and to maintain that all the other qualities also. Yeah. So and why only Krishna? We all know because Krishna is the root of all the creation. Uh, he is the root of the tree. Yeah. And how one needs to worship Brahmanas, Achyutas, according to Deshakala Patra. Yeah. So neophytes worship since he's envious in nature. So one may be worshipping deity, but if he's not properly respecting the devotees, the Lord is never satisfied. And he's called Prakruta Bhakta. He's called the materialistic devotee. So one has to rise above that. And yeah, so even Lord worships the Brahmanas. What to speak? So one needs to instructions for the civilized human beings. Yeah, so this one point. So this one process to conquer various obstacles. Prabhu, I think I'll just take 1 minute and then we will end here. Yeah. So there are different anarthas we all know lust, greed, anger. What are the practical ways to come out of these things? So he's telling that just like the lusty desires, how it can be conquer by making plans with determination. Like today, I will not enjoy. Just keep a practical goal, and then like that, the mind can be controlled. So everything starts from the contemplation. So I will tell that no, today I will not contemplate anything like that. So make a practical way, and then have a proper determination, and then it will work like that. And fear by discussing about fear means basically due to the ignorance, ajnana. So one, if one knows the truth, the fear will be taken away like that. So yeah, so all these things Prabhuji was mentioning. So these are all things are there in 7.11, I think 7.14.22 to 20. And importance of accepting guru. Yes. So this everything is boils down to how one accepts it and accepts the guru and follow the instructions of the guru. Yeah. Yeah. So this one point will just end here. So if a brahmachari does not follow his vows in Gurukula, he is actually condemned. If a grihastha gives up his prescribed duty, he is condemned. If a vanaprastha engages in village activities, that is uh, dharma, that all the gossip and everything, then he is actually condemned. Sannyasi, if he is addicted to sense gratification, he is condemned. So these four things is very important. These are also, and this is the Narada Muni's previous life. That is not the maid servant. How he became the son of a maid servant, there is another story. That is, he was a Gandharva named Upabarhana, and how he was frivolous and he was cursed by the Prajapatis to become a maid servant. That was also told by Narada Muni uh, in one of the contexts. Yeah. So, Prabhu, I think he exceeded. Sorry. Prabhu,
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, so in the seventh canto, there are 5 chapters exclusively for Varnashrama Dharma. So we all can read it, and it's very nice, Prabhuji, how he's explaining each and every detail in that session. So yes, Prabhu, I think I will end the session here. Please forgive me if I have done any offenses and if I spoke out of me beyond my realization. Please bless me. I can serve the Vaishnavas next. Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Bruji. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing many practical details from these quote points from these two verses. Devotees can unmute themselves to share any reflections or if they have any questions, please ask Bruji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, wonderful class.
Prabhuji, Hare
Too
Krishna.
fast. Too
Please
fast.
speak. Yeah, it was too fast, Mataji. So probably I could have timed a little more. So yeah, it was too fast. Yeah.
And excellent example for this demigods and Krishna Prabhu.
Demigods.
Yeah.
I was hearing from Radhashyam Prabhu.
Yes, yes. Very nice. And Prabhu, I wanted to ask, you're telling both Mrugari and Prachina Barhi, they were killing animals. But Mrugari was enjoying the dying animals. But
Yeah.
Prachina Barhi was performing sacrifice.
Yeah, that's what, Mataji. So these karmakanda activities, there it is mentioned that even a slightest mistake happens in the sacrifice, it leads to another wrong consequences only, Madhu. So it is not that all the animals they are getting perfection. Some are kind of if some mistake happens, they're going to be killed mercilessly, right? So that is why he's telling that some animals are waiting with a steel horns, and they're going to. So it is, I mean, it is a possible thing, right? It is not that all the time everything will be perfect. Sometimes some sacrifices may have some shortcomings, due to which the animals are sacrificed. They may be waiting to take the revenge, right? So yeah,
But
I
towards
mean,
the end,
it is not safe, basically. Sorry, Madhu.
no, towards the end, you are showing the things, no, Prabhu, the anarthas and these
Ha,
things.
correct, Mataji. Yeah.
It is taken from Bhagavata Pravaham.
Yeah, yes, Mataji. It is from Bhagavata Pravaha only. I have taken that. I can share that, Mataji, that table. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a practical way. That's what I see.
How will you share, Prabhu?
Sorry, Mataji.
How will you share, Prabhu?
How will I share? I will share probably. Um, I don't know. Srivaghat, you can help
Yeah, you
me.
share us, Prabhu. We'll maybe share in some common WhatsApp groups.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
Okay, we cannot share it here.
yes.
Is that Prabhuji's PDF available online? If you have any online link,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
did
yes,
you
Prabhu.
download?
It is there in online only, Prabhu. It is
If
there.
you share that link, I'll post it in the chat window.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes. I'll do
Or
that.
you can directly post it in the chat window.
Yeah, yeah, yes, 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 yeah.
So thank you so much for the wonderful class. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Please pray. This is yeah. So Mataji, I just shared it, Mataji, that video. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is
Yes,
the PDF
Mataji.
there? Is the
Sorry,
PDF
Prabhu?
there, Prabhu? Is the PDF there in that link? I think
No,
not.
no. PDF is not there, I think, Prabhuji. I
Okay.
have taken actually a screenshot from that video, and I have shown it.
Okay, created the PDF. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. That's
Okay,
Prabhu, I
Prabhuji.
think. Yeah,
Yes, we can end the class with Vaishnava.
yeah. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo ananta koti vaishnavavrind ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you everyone for joining. I'll end the session today. We'll meet again tomorrow.